Hey, Footclan, this is the weekend to hop in some hot DFS action over on FanDuel, DraftKings, and the way to dominate is our DFS Pass at dfspass.com. Right now, it is discounted almost half off. It goes through the playoffs. You're talking expert advice from the top-ranked DFS experts, including Jake Seeley, Chris Meany, Ben Cummins, great picks, premium resources. You got to check it out. Go to dfspass.com.
This is Christian Kirk with the Arizona Cardinals, and you're listening to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome to the podcast. Just another Friday, November 16th.
That's a very specific Friday.
We are
just another one.
Just another Friday, November 16th.
Well, every year.
I don't think it's going to be
every year. Friday is November 16th.
Really?
Yeah, it's
the one day that stays the same.
Adjust your calendar appropriately, please.
Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Andy, Mike, and Jason back again. The rest of the matchups on the show today, the Fantasy Forecast. We'll get you caught up on injury news. It's a Footclan Friday, and Brooks is here. Brooks is in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Brooks has enthusiastically declared this to be a great show.
Oh, this is going to be the best.
And that's all I need. I need the pat on the back from Brooks because he knows all. He is the judge.
Well, I mean, look, whenever you come in off of a dominating performance, a dominating call, like the greatness that is Ed Dixon, Red Ed Dixon. Look, shout out to the Footclan. Ed Dixon is the stupidest fantasy thing to talk about. He's the stupidest fantasy darling that we could ever have. Well, irrelevant.
It was Red Ed Redemption last night.
Yes, it was Red Ed Redemption for me. But shout out to the Footclan, of which there were hundreds of you that literally, when he caught that touchdown, just had to tweet me. I couldn't even read all of them that were on the Red Dead Express, and that's fun. I mean, when you can be excited over someone like Ed Dixon catching a touchdown, that means you're part of the team here. You're part of the family.
I was not. My message to our Slack channel was just, "Oh no."
Yes. Yes.
Well, we can talk about last night if we want to.
Let's get into it. Devontae Adams. Monster game.
He's just so good now.
We were talking about it before the show.
Or relative to the other players, he's very good.
But Devontae Adams was not looking so hot when he entered the league. I mean, he was a high draft pick. He got a really early opportunity to showcase and be the man when Jordy Nelson went out with a second or third year, I can't recall.
Stunk it up.
And he was
Tons
terrible.
Of drops.
Yes, he was dropping the ball all the time. And he has since elevated himself into, well, I think he's in the elite category of wide receiver in the NFL now. He's frequently open. The reason he didn't have a touchdown last night is because Aaron Rodgers underthrew him on that 40-yard reception early on. Adams had to come back to the ball. Adams bailed Rodgers out on several occasions of making some highly suspect decisions.
10 for 166, a 57-yard catch, 12 targets, and was dominant. Him and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones living up to the hype. 11 for 40 and a touchdown on the ground. And then this was the great part. 5 for 63 and a touchdown through the air. Looked electric. You barely saw Jamal Williams. One carry for Jamal Williams.
Finally,
Aaron Jones was out there. I mean, this is what you wanted to see. This is what we hoped for. And it was everything you wanted. Now, what we didn't want was what happened with other pass catchers on the team. Jimmy Graham left with an injury. So if you started Jimmy Graham, you got what, one catch, 13 yards?
Yeah, he has a thumb injury, and Mike Silver from the NFL Network is reporting they fear it to be serious. So if you were counting on Jimmy Graham in this disgusting tight end landscape, Prepare to be even more disgusted when you hit the waiver wire.
And then I have to mention my Shart of the week.
Oh!
Marquez Valdez Scantling. Maybe,
not bad.
Maybe the miniature Valdez Scantling. Like if you're in a league with micro points.
Yeah.
No?
Oh yeah. That was
See, he
really
got kneecapped by the touchdown from Robert Tonyan Harding.
Yeah, that was
No?
No,
I was trying it out.
good.
I think Tonyan Harding is
A good Tonyan Harding reference, Jason. It's very current.
I doubt he likes the reference personally.
Right.
I mean, that was a beast.
And
catch.
this is the only time you're ever going to be able to talk about that player.
It was a great catch. Rodgers
Jimmy Graham is going to be out.
So here's
And
the
that
thing.
dude was running free.
Marquez Valdez Scantling had a bad game, and it was unfortunate. You started the week, Andy.
I burned down with him.
Oh, yeah.
I started him against Jason in our league. So didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
I took my shot,
but I would
and
not.
then the bullet came back and
Boomerang bullet.
boomerang bullet.
Here's the thing. For everyone out there that's like, oh, he was wrong, it was a bad play, yada, yada. Look, Jimmy Graham is out. I am still 100% in on Marquez going forward. It's not a double down. Look, this was in Seattle against a good Seattle defense. I mean, the wide receiver 2 for Aaron Rodgers since 2011 has averaged at the end of the season the wide receiver 15. The rationale for Marquez is there. It was a bad game, and there's bad games from everybody, and so I think, shame on you, clearly, Andy.
Yes,
but also shout out to you. You are currently the number 9 ranked analyst on Fantasy Pros for the course of the season. So Andy's trying to go.
That's the blanket I took to bed with me last night.
Andy is trying to go deep for his starts of the week. What you needed to do, Andy,
I know,
is pull up Jason Moore, make Juju Smith-Schuster
I have a
start
note.
every week.
I have a note. Juju is the start of the week for me at wide receiver, where I seem to have problems
from here on out.
From here on out for the rest of the season.
Here's my concern.
I recommend Juju Smith-Schuster. He's a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, up and comer. Here's my concern.
One problem.
What's that?
He is on the road in Jacksonville this week.
Oh,
so.
Great.
I have my just overall concerns for Valdez Scantling and the Green Bay offense as a whole. Because if you're watching what's happened, this wasn't the first time it's happened this year where Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what these plays are that are coming from the sideline where Rodgers, he has ample time, but unless Davante Adams is the first read, terrible things are happening. And Aaron Rodgers is getting sacked.
We talked about it before the show. Other than Davante Adams, the other receivers are so young, right? We just talked about Davante Adams stinking at the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
You have a learning curve. Like there was a time when I thought Davante Adams couldn't be a 1 because he only had 2 or 3 ability, right? Like you just didn't have that inherent connection. These other receivers, MVS included, I don't know what they're doing when he breaks out of the pocket. There's no returning to the quarterback.
Yeah.
There's no awareness of the, in a scramble drill to find your way open.
Part of that is the scheme, though, is that it's scramble drill every time. Mike McCarthy, his offense is so stale, stagnant, outdated, it's disgusting. And
took him 11 weeks to feature Aaron Jones.
I was going to bring that up. J.J. Zacharyson tweeted out, he just worded it perfect. He said legitimately horrendous that it took this long to feature Aaron Jones. You have an Alvin Kamara on your team, and you weren't using him because
I thought about that
dumb.
last night. When I watched him come in for third down, I said to myself, I go, Andy Reid would have had him in there week 1.
Yeah.
Week 1, he would have been in. Sean Payton, week 1, he's a third down back.
Yeah, if Aaron Jones was drafted by the Saints, he would be smashing it.
Yeah, he'd be a top 5 pick.
Right now, on the Seattle side, we'll at least touch on it. Chris Carson was the featured running back. Despite coming back from his injury, had a strong game. Rashad Penny played clearly above Mike Davis. And I think Rashad Penny was about to be in line for a bigger day, but he tweaked his hip on that big run.
He did. Other than the big run, though, he was 1.8 a carry on his other 7 runs. So, I mean, maybe you blame the hip, maybe not.
Yeah, that's what I think it factored into his inefficiency.
8 for 46. He had a really nice run that I thought he was going to get caught in the backfield. Bad pursuit. Carson, 17 for 83 and a touchdown. Mike Davis featured here and there, 4 for 26. Wide receiver-wise, I mean, it was a good game from Doug Baldwin, 7 for 52 and a touchdown. He also had a couple targets where Russell just missed him. but he led the team in targets, 10 targets on the day. So you kind of saw both sides of the equation last night for Seattle. You actually saw a first half in which, it seemed like the wide receivers were in tune, and then, in the second half there's a little bit more of the running game. But, Russell Wilson, 21 for 31, 225 and 2.
Yeah, he's safe.
That's okay. That's fine. So
yeah, it wasn't world beater, but it's certainly a good outing. I basically, the biggest takeaway though was that
start Ed Dixon over MVS.
Ed Dixon is the best tight end in the history of the National Football League.
You know what? Let's celebrate something.
Footclan Friday.
If you can listen to that drop and not smile, you're a horrible person.
Or you started Marquez last night.
one of those two things.
Sorry, man.
True. Footclan Friday, we give away a $55 gift card. And today's winner from jointhefoot.com is Adelman. Adelman. It's just one word. It's like share. Because
all right.
If you are a member of Join the Foot over,
what if it's a deli man?
Well,
and he's really into delis.
Then he would have spelled it like that, Mike. This is more
solid.
like
maybe.
It's a play on Edelman, but it's Adele the singer. You see what I'm saying?
Adelman.
It's a mashup.
Yeah, it's a mashup worth $55 to shopballers.com. Congratulations. Thanks for supporting the show.
Thank you.
Twitter, you can find us at the FF Ballers. Make sure you check out our YouTube. YouTube.com/thefantasyfootballers. We'll be posting some highlights on Saturdays now. And you can always get connected with our live stream. Mike is live on Sunday mornings, getting you up to date on pretty much everything going on.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and talk through some injuries.
What's it going to be, McFly? Are you in or out?
All right, starting at the quarterback position, the big question is Joe Flacco, the hip injury. What do we know and what do we expect?
I don't think he's going to play. He hasn't been practicing. They said he doesn't need to in order to go. Lamar Jackson missed Thursday, but it was with an illness. From what I have heard from some, Twitter followers or some Twitter follows from the Baltimore area, the Robert Griffin situation.
I think that's why it's trending.
Might happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could go. That is truly a very wide swing. I would stay away from Baltimore pass catchers. They could have a great game. I would stay away from Griffin. He could have a great game, but I would stay away. The only guy I'm confident in is probably Alex Collins.
I get there's certainly far more risk if you go from Flacco to Griffin, but I lean with the side that the team will still perform.
Yeah, but someone like Joe Flacco, known for the deep ball, known for targeting John Brown.
Robert Griffin's deep ball is very good.
Are you thinking back like a few years, or? I mean,
That's the last time we have to.
It's been a really, really long time since we've seen it. I would lose all confidence in pass catchers there because what they do, it's not so much does he have a good deep ball. It's what does the coach do with the offense to protect him from failure.
Yep. What is the chemistry for a guy who has not been practicing?
Are you telling me you would not downgrade John Brown in the event that
I will
they change quarterbacks?
I will slightly, but it's not a holy crap. I got to go find another option like off the waiver wire or things like. I'm not going to panic on John Brown. Right? Look, and this is based off of Robert Griffin in the preseason. He looked sharp. I know I get it. It's preseason, so it's kind of hard to make takeaways, but he at least didn't look terrible. So
yeah,
that's a plus to me.
Him and Sam Bradford looked real good in preseason.
Sam Bradford did not.
James, he looked all right in the preseason. He had a couple sharp outings. Yeah. James Conner, concussion, practicing in full. He'll be in there. Joe Mixon popped up on the injury report yesterday. Was limited. Was not listed on the Wednesday report. We don't know if this is maintenance or a new aggravation of the knee injury that kept him out earlier. What do you guys think about Joe Mixon? He's going up against the number 1 ranked running defense in terms of fantasy points against. It makes him a little bit scary.
This is why if you have a known handcuff that can produce, you should have already added them. If you have Joe Mixon, we said Gio Bernard should be on your bench at this point of the season.
Yep, 100%. He should play. It's not a great matchup, but you must have Gio.
Keenan Allen, in or out?
Added to the Week 11 injury report, he's going to be in.
Yeah, I'll go in.
Mike Williams, groin injury?
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
The Bengals wideouts, A.J. Green, the rumor of him coming back. He hasn't practiced. In or out?
I'm going to say out for the guy who should miss multiple weeks and isn't practicing.
Yeah.
John Ross had a few receptions last week.
Yeah, I think he'll play.
Okay, you think he'll be in, groin injury?
Yep.
Sammy Watkins, the Monday night game, in or out?
He is expected to play.
Marvin Jones, knee injury, didn't practice, in or out?
Out.
That's what you think?
I believe.
Chris Godwin, ankle injury.
Didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. You're just going to have to monitor it. This could be 50-50. I'll lean out.
You upgrade Humphreys?
Pronounced with a Humphreys.
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
A little extra Humphreys?
I would give him a little boost, but it's not a boost into my lineup, so it's irrelevant.
Kiki QT, in or out?
I'm going to say out. He's practicing in a limited fashion, but that's coming off of a bye week. He doesn't want to get out there till he's 100%. I'm guessing they give him another week.
And then lastly, Jordy Nelson with the knee injury, still sidelined.
I think he's going to be out.
Who exactly is catching the ball in Oakland?
Roberts.
No one.
Seth Roberts?
Seth Roberts.
Could be Jared Cook. Might pump the brakes, but at this point, there's no one else. So
Yeah.
It could be a long afternoon for Oakland.
Richard.
Yeah, it could be a lot of checkdowns. All right, let's get into the matchups.
Fantasy Forecast.
Continuing our matchups from yesterday, the 6-2-1 Steelers take on the 3-6 Jaguars.
Wow.
Jags are 5.5-point home dogs.
3-6.
Yeah, it's a bad year for Jacksonville. 46.5-point over/under in this one. Look, the Steelers are just playing well right now, and the Jags are playing poorly. I expect those trends to continue in Jacksonville. The Jacksonville defense has not been able to figure things out to the degree where they can save this team, right? Where they can overcome a bad game on offense from Blake Bortles or what are we expecting in this one? Is this amazingly? This is a rematch from last year's AFC divisional game where the Jacksonville Jaguars won 45-42, and Fournette had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was surprised at the line, and I get it because the Steelers are on fire. Their offensive line and defensive line look unbelievable. But having Leonard Fournette back, being at home in a must-win divisional game, I think it's going to be. I think
not
it could
divisional,
be.
Jay.
Oh, right. Conference.
Sure.
I think it could be closer, hard-fought than the 5.5 home dog score insinuates. It will be a tough outing if Leonard Fournette can't get it going, but I think at home, Leonard Fournette has a pretty good game. The Steelers have been good against the run. They're 5th best on the season over the last 6 weeks. They're 7th best, so it's a tough matchup, but I do like that he's at home.
They've also been great against the pass. I don't think there's been a wide receiver with more than 75 yards receiving against them in 6-7 weeks. The Joe Hayden effect, as Mike would call it.
Yep.
And, you're starting Antonio Brown. You're starting Big Ben. You're starting Juju with confidence.
Yes. Yeah, well, the Jags have allowed a top 10 quarterback performance 3 of their last 4 weeks. That's one of those things you don't realize it because overall, if you look at their seasonal ranking, the Jags are still very strong against the quarterback, but recently things have been more falling apart. I have confidence in the Steelers side, and I'm good with the line of 5.5.
Am I.
I think the Jags are just bad. I don't think Leonard Fournette will be able to get it going.
Yeah, I guess where do you guys have Fournette this week? Last week, obviously,
he's a 2, but because he gets volume. I mean, you still play Leonard Fournette.
I have Leonard Fournette
ball.
Still as a 1. He's my running back 12 as of this moment. So I think the opportunities are there. Whenever you've got a guy that talented that's going to touch the ball 20-plus times, he has to be viewed as a 1.
Are you going to do the Vance dance?
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think about Vance McDonald in the playoff game last year? He had 16 targets.
And that's the one place that's the one place where you can beat the Jaguars. Even though the Jaguars' defense recently for quarterbacks hasn't been outstanding on the season. They're the 6th best against quarterbacks, 6th best against running back, 1st against wide receiver, but then 23rd at the tight end. So tight end is, I think, Vance McDonald, even Jesse James, because one of those 2 guys is going to have a good game, and if you have to take a shot, this is a decent matchup to do it.
Are you telling me Jesse James could go full Ed Dixon in this one?
Yes.
Oh, the outlaw. The Outlaw Jesse and Red Dead.
Oh, mercy.
That's a strong fantasy team.
Yeah, it is.
Very high in robberies.
That's true. Any other thoughts from this one? I mean, I think we've hit all the big names.
What about the Jaguars receivers? Is there anybody? I mean, Moncrief's been.
If I'm playing anybody, it's Moncrief, but this is not a matchup where I want to flex him. I'd rather look for someone else.
You know what I want to do? I want to thank Pristine Auction for sponsoring today's podcast. You've heard us talk about them, and here are some of the auctions yesterday. You could get a signed T.Y. Hilton photo yesterday. $15.97.
Wow.
Kyle,
did he take the photo or is he in the photo?
This
is from my private collection.
It's a picture of a bridge that he took. Yeah. No, Kyle Rudolph signed Vikings Speed mini helmet, $43 yesterday. Michael Thomas signed mini helmet, $61 yesterday. You want some old school gear? Here's a couple old school names that went off on the auctions yesterday. Emmitt Smith signed 8x10 photo, $71. Mike Ditka signed Bears highlight stat jersey, $77.
Nice a stash.
That was Jay Grizz.
Oh, a mustache jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
It's just his mustache.
Yeah, Jay Grizz picked up that Mike Ditka jersey. Look, it's every single day. You know that the signatures are legitimate. They're JSA certified. They have on-site authenticators, and they only work with the best consigners. Check them out, pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com.
We want to thank FanDuel for sponsoring today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what FanDuel is. It's a way to enhance the fantasy weekend. You got your season long rolling. That's amazing. We're all about that. But you got to check out weekend play, daily play. It's incredibly fun. We're super excited to be playing FanDuel all season because you get the excitement of researching and building your team each week. Every week it's a new season. Regardless of the outcome, you can do it all over again. Pick yourself up off the ground. And FanDuel has never been more fun or easy. It's the place to play if you're not a fantasy expert. They have something for everyone. There are more ways to win than ever before, like the Gridiron Pick'em contest every week. It's a free contest. All you need to do is pick winners, no spreads, and 10,000 big ones split amongst the top pickers. And right now, new users can get a $5 bonus when they make their first deposit on FanDuel. Come play with us at FanDuel.com/fantasyfootballers. That's FanDuel.com/fantasyfootballers.
All right, let's talk about
real quick. And if you want some help with FanDuel, the DFS podcast, it comes new one every single Friday. So that means it's live right now. Go check it out.
Yeah, just went up this morning. 1-8. The Raiders take on the 2-7 Cardinals in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Cardinals are 5.5-point favorites. It's a 40.5-point over-under. And, look, the big storyline, David Johnson, the breakout last week. Right now, David Johnson, he's through the bye, and he's still the number 10 overall running back on a season where, look, he's viewed as a disappointment. But, I think he has the opportunity under Leftwich, coming off of the monster week. He's a top. I mean, he could finish inside of the top 8. Yeah, I mean,
3.
You're saying on season? I'm
on the
saying
season.
This week looks unbelievable. You're at home. You're favored in Vegas. In the red zone,
they're passing him the football.
Yeah, they're passing him the football. You also have the fact that the Raiders. I mean, they have in the red zone just been getting rushed on at an unbelievable clip. I think. David Johnson obviously must start, but he could have a huge week. The other player here, and, we talked about him yesterday as my start of the week that I think is a great option, is Larry Fitzgerald.
I thought MVS was your...
Yeah. Oh, Andy's start of the week, Larry Fitzgerald.
Thank you.
That's the new strat.
Yeah.
She's like, no, that was your start of the week.
We don't have any proof.
Yeah, I mean, you've got double-digit targets in the 2 Byron Leftwich games. You've got the home matchup. You've got the defense of the Raiders. So all the cards are aligning for the Arizona Cardinals to have good games from their main pieces. And those main
cards
pieces
are aligning, eh?
Oh, I see what you did.
Are David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. I would much rather play Larry over Christian Kirk in this game in Arizona.
Now,
is there any universe in a deep league you want to stream Josh Rosen because he's playing such a poor defense at home, couple touchdowns?
It would have to be a deep 2 quarterback league.
He's far
a deep
more
2 quarterback.
Yeah.
He's far more of a
14,
FanDuel.
Like a 15-team, 2-quarterback league
14?
where all 30 quarterbacks are started. That's the one you're in on.
Yeah.
Even quarterbacks on bye.
Correct.
He's more of a DFS play this weekend, but I know you want to play Larry over Kirk, but offenses facing the Raiders have thrown a deep ball on over 15% of the pass attempts, and that's the second highest in the league.
Now
So you're saying there's a shot
You're saying
for
that
Kirk.
people go deep against the Raiders for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think Christian Kirk has a chance, and if you're streaming tight end, we mentioned that Ricky Seals-Jones is an option. The Raiders are very, very bad against the tight end position, and he is getting far more involved, like David Johnson, since the change to Leftwich.
The real issue with Arizona is there are possibilities for all of these players outside of David Johnson, but they are the 31st ranked scoring offense in football. I don't think that you're going to see such an ascension just because they're playing the Raiders that all of those guys are going to have value,
Agreed.
right? We don't agree that David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and you're going to have the highest level of certainty from David Johnson, and beyond that, you are risking something with the 31st ranked scoring offense in the league.
Yeah.
Sure, you're definitely capped. But
Doug
like,
Martin?
would you rather play? Sorry, but I just want to stay on tight end. Would you rather play Jared Cook on the opposite side of the ball or Ricky Seals-Jones?
I would definitely play Jared Cook. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Ricky Seals-Jones higher in my rankings. I think the upside is with – like I think Ricky Seals-Jones could have a great game. I don't think Jared Cook has a great game, but Jared Cook's floor is much, much safer to me than Ricky Seals-Jones.
They're probably –
it's not a rankings-based thing. I would probably go Cook for
yeah, they're very
safety.
similar, but just with the pass catchers being down on one side, more guaranteed targets, I feel like for Cook, if you want safety, like you said. Doug Martin or Jalen Richard, the running backs for Oakland. You know, we've talked about – look, every game the rest of the season that Oakland plays, the perception is going to be it's going to be a quote-unquote
This is a Richard
game because they're going to be down. So I don't think that narrative is going to work.
It's a Richard season.
It's a Richard season right now with the past, you're going to be trailing.
I'd play Martin.
Doug Martin's averaging 83.3 yards from scrimmage in his 3 starts. And that's why I would play him.
I'm going with Martin. He's getting volume, and we talked about the Cardinals. They have a chance, but they're not putting huge amounts of points up on anybody. It would be a shocking revelation Sunday morning.
Relevation.
Relevation.
That's a weird word that I
That
just
is
made up.
really weird.
That's how you relevate and detonate. I learned that
that's-
from the Suns broadcast.
Yeah, the Rocky Mountains have a really high relevation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
relative to other mountain
Yes.
ranges.
Thank you.
Relevation.
We figured it out. Yeah, I like how you repeated it at the end like you're in a spelling bee.
Yes. Relevation. Can I get the etymology of the word, please?
Yes, the Rocky Mountains are, relativating speaking.
Or origin, Mike Wright.
Yes.
Relevation.
Coining new words. But what I meant to say is to turn on the TV. Well, first of all, if your TV doesn't black out the game just for being so gross, I don't blame your provider if they just say you're not allowed to watch the game. But if you turned it on and the Cardinals are ahead by 2 touchdowns or more, that would be shocking. So I think that it's a Doug Martin
Well,
game.
we live in a free country, Mike, so I would prefer a prompt that just says, would you like to change the channel? Would you like to watch Andy Griffith reruns in the corner of the screen?
Yes.
Bring some joy in your life.
The 3-6 Broncos take on the 7-2 Chargers. Chargers 7-point home favorites, 46.5-point over-under. You have some must-starts in this game named Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Keenan Allen. Those are your must-starts on the Los Angeles side. On the Denver side, is Philip Lindsay a must-start? Royce Freeman is returning. He practiced in full on Thursday. The matchup is difficult. You're on the road.
I would say he is a must-start this week. I mean, he's been fantastic, first of all. The matchup is it's still okay. Like it's not the absolute worst, but with all the teams on bye, I think Lindsey's firmly entrenched in the running back 2 area.
Here's a wild stat, and Rich Rebar posts this. Chargers are allowing the least rushing yards per game at home in the league. On the road, they're 26th. So they're giving up 131 yards per game on the road,
Wow.
on the ground, and only 74 at home. it's just interesting to see that breakdown because you would think those things would be slightly closer together.
I've been told that defense travels.
Right.
Apparently not.
Not in the case of Los Angeles. Maybe you could argue they're always on the road.
Fair point.
With respect to the crowd. But bigger questions for this game. Look, moving away from must-start players, you're not sitting Melvin Gordon or Keenan Allen. Let's talk about Courtland Sutton for a moment. Right now, we don't love the matchup from our rankings.
No.
I think the future's bright for Courtland Sutton. He was 3 for 57 on 5 targets against Houston without Demaryius Thomas. But right now, he's outside our upper echelon guys.
After this week, I love Courtland Sutton. I mean, this is his last difficult matchup, if memory serves me, for the rest of the season. Everything is smooth sailing. But this is not a good one. I mean, the Chargers have a good secondary. They're 10th on the season. They're even better. If you look at the last 6 weeks, they're the 3rd most difficult matchup for wide receivers to go up against. So I don't love Courtland Sutton on the road against a tough opponent. This is more, Jeff Hireman might need to be a little bit more involved. He has been involved. And, I brought up last week, part of that was the quick dump-offs all over the defensive line because you were going up against J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney. Well, I don't think Joey Bosa is back yet, but they've got a good –
still got to deal with Melvin Ingram.
Yeah, I was going to say they've got a good pass rush still, and Hireman might need to be involved. So he's like one of the – would you rather play Hireman or Seals Jones or Jared Cook? Like, is he in that mix?
He's in the mix, but he's the 3rd option of there.
Emmanuel Sanders.
I mean, you play Emmanuel Sanders. The interesting thing will be, what do they do with Casey Hayward, DB for the Los Angeles Chargers, an absolute shutdown corner. But Sanders plays a lot of the time in the slot.
Moves around.
Will they have Casey follow him into the slot? I do not know. I cannot tell you.
The 4-5 Eagles traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. The Saints are 8.5-point favorites.
Don't do it.
It's a 56-point over-under.
Yes!
Andy's almost upset of the week.
I love it.
This almost upset comes to you from
Relevation.
From sponsored by Relevation. No, this comes from the fact that Eagles are a well-coached team coming off a pretty tough defeat, and I think they make this game closer than this 8.5-point line. Maybe they even steal one in New Orleans. I know New Orleans is on fire right now. That's a huge over-under. It doesn't affect the way I'm treating the start-sit situation for New Orleans. Of course, you are must-starting Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. But I think it's going to be a very competitive game, and I think you're going to see some fireworks from the Philadelphia offense. They're going to figure some things out. Carson Wentz and company. Alshon Jeffrey, I love him this week. Golden Tate, according to Doug Peterson, much further along this week than last week, is going to have a bigger role in the offense. That's going to help him. And then Zach Ertz is a must-start each and every week. Dominated last week. So, the big question, I think, surrounded the running backs on Philadelphia, and then Mark Ingram with the nice week last week. What happens this week against Philly?
Yeah, Mark Ingram for me is a should start. I realize that the Eagles are a pretty good rush defense. They're middle of the pack over the last 6 weeks, but when you're at home with this high and over-under, favored by 8.5 points, that is as close to a must-start running back situation as possible, not to mention he's actually a really good running back. So, I mean, I can't imagine a situation if you can bench Mark Ingram and make the right call, then congratulations. You've got an awesome set of running backs ahead of them.
Really? Okay,
That's how I feel.
Eagles defense, they're at the, in the upper echelon.
Yeah, but
they only give up 17.9 points per game on the season to running backs. What's the last few weeks?
The last 6 weeks, they are 16th ranked, so they're
right
in the middle, and they've had some injuries on their defense.
Their defense, I think,
so would you play,
in trouble.
Would you play Lindsey or would you play Mark Ingram?
I would play Mark Ingram.
I would play Mark
Ingram.
Okay,
you both agree on that one.
For me, talking just down to game script, this will come down to how well does Carson Wentz play on the road, because they're going to have to keep up. The Saints are going to put up points. I think Drew Brees is going to have a monster game. Ronald Darby cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is out with the torn ACL. They are banged up in the secondary. Michael Thomas is going to be an all-you-can-eat buffet, and targets are on the menu.
If that's the case, what do you do with the very disappointing performance from Traquan Smith last week where he fully goosed, and he's only averaging 3 targets and 21 yards a game since that 2-touchdown game?
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking into him because he is a flyer where I think he's worth the risk. I mean, could he go out there and have, 15 yards and 1 reception? Sure. But he has as high a probability to me of having a 50-yard touchdown as any other player in the league this week.
Traquan or Tyrell Williams?
I'm a Tyrell.
Williams, I would put Tyrell ahead. Okay. He's had more opportunity.
What about Tate in the same game?
Oh, I would go Traquan over Tate.
I would take Tate.
We still don't know Tate's involvement. He was clearly behind Jordan Matthews last week. Now, that's understandable. First week in, and they're going to get him more involved. Maybe this is the week, but since I don't know that, and there's the upside with Traquan, I see the potential for a good game from Traquan.
Mike, where do you sit between those two?
I would play Traquan.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give Golden Tate one more week to acclimate to the offense.
Alshon Jeffrey still averaging 8.7 targets per game. I expect him to have a better game against this Saints defense that is still dead last in the league against opposing wide receivers, giving up almost 40 fantasy points a game. You always start Carson Wentz right now. He's the quarterback 4 in fantasy points per game since week 4, and we all have him at number 4 for the week. So I think we all hope as fantasy owners for the shootout that is being expected by Vegas.
Yes.
Josh Adams, Wendell Smallwood, Corey Clement, put those in order.
Adams, Clement, Smallwood.
If there was an Adams, none of the above, or if there was a none of the above
if there was
in
option
general?
D of none of the above, I would take that.
I would take none of the above, and I think I would put Smallwood ahead of Clement just from if this turns into a shootout and they need to get a pass catcher. Smallwood is better to me in that role.
I would stash Josh Adams. If I'm a fantasy owner, I'm telling you, go stash Josh Adams. There's an opportunity here to tuck him on your bench for the week. I'm not saying you go play him. He's averaged 6.25 yards per carry. Doug Peterson wants to get him more involved. There's an opportunity against a defense that's not, they've been better of late, but they're not the best in the league. I think if you stash him, you could be really happy after this week.
I really like your call of the almost upset because this is a team that
they need a win.
While their record says that they are, going to have a difficult road to the playoffs, their division says, look, the Washington Redskins are kind of imploding injury-wise, and they're the division leader. It's anyone's race right now. They need this win.
They need the win. I think it'll be competitive. 5-3-1. The Vikings, Sunday Night Football, taking on the Bears. Bears are 6-3. They're at home, and they're 2.5-point favorites. So Vegas giving the nod to Chicago.
Respect.
The respect to
They're
Chicago.
leading the division.
Sure. That doesn't always matter.
Doesn't
right?
always, but
have you seen the lines for Washington in recent weeks?
Touché.
Leading the division doesn't matter. But 44.5-point over-under, that is a low over-under. You've got a couple of ferocious defenses and a couple of, questionable situations.
This is a scary game to me for fantasy. When I look at this game, I am very fearful because it's division with the Vikings defense has been getting better and better. The Bears defense is great, but there's so many fantasy relevant players here. Mitch has been good. Kirk Cousins is usually started. Jordan Howard, you have so many pieces.
You go to Jordan Howard? You could have gone like Adam Thielen.
I could keep going.
Dalvin
Turok,
Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
Put it in the right order.
Stefan Diggs. But my point is there's 10 players in this game that are going to be in a lot of lineups.
Does that list have Jordan Howard on it?
Of course it does.
Okay, so there's 9 players.
Okay, sure. Agree to disagree. But the point is, Vegas doesn't have this as a huge over-under, and I took the under on my predictions. I could see this game going either way, but if this is a defensive, cold weather, it's 28 degrees is the expectation right now.
Yeah, I think I have every running back on both teams lower than the consensus. because of the over-under, because of the stout defensive fronts, because of the fact that this is going to be a lower-scoring affair. I mean, you're at 44.5-point over-under. Both backfields, you're going to see a little bit of a split, right? I mean, Dalvin Cook, we expect to be –
I think this is the week that Dalvin Cook takes over.
Yeah, taking over, though, this week is going to be difficult against Chicago.
Fair.
And Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen. Look, the Bears running backs have averaged 3.1 yards per carry since week 7. Blah. And you have an offensive coordinator who is content to say, well, if you're going to run at that clip, I'm just not going to run. I'm just not going to run it as much. Mm-hmm. So, Allen Robinson, you're starting him if you got him. Adam Thielen, you're starting him if you got him. Stephon Diggs, yeah, he's going to be out there. How do you feel about Cousins versus Trubisky in this matchup? Mike, you're the lowest on Trubisky right now.
Yeah, but I would still rather play Trubisky over Kirk Cousins.
You would?
Yes, for sure.
Just being the home matchup.
Well, the home matchup, and like you said, if it's actually a lower scoring game, which it certainly could be, I'd rather have the quarterback who could give me 50 yards on the ground.
Do you want to go official sit for Kirk Cousins this week?
He is for me.
We have him at QB 18. I think that's an official sit.
Yeah, he's my quarterback 19. That's not
sit of the week.
That's not what you want. Yeah, I mean, this is a game where you said it. You're starting most of these players, but you need to temper your expectations. Maybe swing for the fences with your other flex players, and hope you get lucky and that there's somehow a shootout that because they both have good offenses here. I think the biggest question is Jordan Howard.
Who wins the game?
I've got the Bears taking it down at home.
Yeah, I'll take the Bears.
Okay.
But do you start
I'll go with
Jordan
Minnesota.
Howard?
I'll go with
Do I
start Jordan Howard? I try not to.
Yeah, I really try not to
That's my policy.
He's my running back.
If I have to, I will, but my policy is try not to.
Jordan Howard or Peyton Barber?
I think I have Peyton Barber ahead. Yeah, I have Peyton Barber one spot ahead right now of Jordan Howard.
I have Jordan Howard ahead of Peyton, but I mean that's the tier we're talking about.
Yeah, I would take Jordan Howard and hope he falls over into the end zone a couple times.
Derrick Henry or Jordan Howard?
I'll take Jordan Howard.
Gross. Yeah. Howard.
The 9-1 Chiefs take on the 9-1 Rams. Monday Night Football, 63.5-point over/under. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites. I didn't even feel like this. Like when I was consulting my, the oracles that I consult. I didn't even consider this one as I would be allowed to make it an almost upset because obviously the Chiefs can win this ball game. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. Look, Tyreek, Kareem Hunt, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods. Those are your must-starts. So what do we need to talk about here?
There is literally
how
nothing.
Fun this game is going to be?
Nothing to talk about in this game. If you have a player in this game, you start him. I guess Josh Reynolds. Like that's the only.
And Sammy Watkins.
You start Sammy Watkins. There.
You do?
Yes, you start Sammy.
But
this game has a 63.5-point over/under, and I could have closed my eyes and said, whatever number it is, I'm taking the over. I don't care.
Watkins is a wide receiver too this week.
Yes, but the problem is the injury of he's the Monday night game. We think he's going to play. He's expected to play. But what happens if you get to Monday night and then all of a sudden you have to pivot to Josh Reynolds or Chris Conley?
He's exceptionally probable. Like Watkins is on the very, very, very probable side of things.
He's exceptional.
Yeah, he's exceptionally probable. He's relevatory.
The only
relevate.
The only way that
I would relevate him in my rankings.
The only way that Watkins doesn't play this week is if he has a setback.
Correct.
And you'll know that before Sunday. That Brooks is like giving me the I don't know.
I'm more with Mike. You got to have a backup plan.
You're Mr.
Of course
Anti-injury.
You do think that
Watkins is playing.
I don't want a gooser to make me lose the week.
Here,
have a backup plan of Josh Reynolds. That's fine.
Now, have you ever used GPS, Brooks?
Yes.
How many backup maps do you have in your car? You seem like maybe you'd have 2 or 3 backup maps.
Oh yeah, I got the Atlas.
Yeah, yeah. No, I look. If you don't feel comfortable, you want a backup, go for it. Josh Reynolds is the ideal backup, or Chris Conley.
I was going to say, you prefer Reynolds over Chris Conley?
I prefer Reynolds over Chris Conley, yes, but I'm fine with either.
I think I would go Conley. If Watkins is actually out.
I just love that this game was actually moved to Los Angeles. I was worried about, okay, it's going to be high elevation in Mexico. the field conditions were poor. Both teams.
But relevant to what? To where?
Yeah,
right.
Relevant to what?
But the fact that this is
stupid.
in Los
very,
Angeles,
very stupid.
that city's going to be amped up. I mean, I just – if this game hits the under – I'll shed a tear. I will
realize
cry.
The ticket situation for this game is so bad that on Thursday Night Football, they have to announce that there's still tickets available for it to help out.
What?
It was a late shift, right? Like, I mean, you don't have – and they gave away props to the league for doing this. They gave away tons of tickets to first responders who had come out to support those going through obviously fight the fires, protect homes, protect people, and then tons of those people are going to the game. But there are tickets available because it was a late shift.
Los Angeles.
Dude, if I was living in Los Angeles, there is 0% chance I'm not at this game. Like, this is going to be a blast. It better be.
Any injury updates since the show started, Brooks? Anything new that you are aware of?
Just Mixon is participating in the walkthrough, but I can't tell if that's like limited or full practice yet. But
Is he jogging through the walkthrough or walking through the walkthrough?
participating.
Participating. So I guess
Does he
walking.
get a participation ribbon? I hope so.
See, I feel like I asked Brooks about injury updates, and now I'm deciding that he's like the spider from Game of Thrones, where he's got his little birds out there with information. Any of your little birds letting you know about anything, Brooks?
No, nothing yet.
Anybody we need a backup plan for?
Sammy Watkins, Monday night.
Yeah, okay. Well,
You never know.
Do you have a backup to the backup?
He's got Conley and Josh Reynolds.
Good for you. Boy Scout.
Stashed them both. All right, no injury updates then, so we'll go ahead and get into the Daily Dose.
The Daily Dose, brought to you by Draft.
All right, each and every Friday this season, we are jumping in a quick 3-person draft, 1v1v1. Mike, are you going QB only for us this week? Is that what we're doing?
I did. I went
Those
QB
are pretty
only.
fun.
Yeah, and there are 2 really good picks, and I'm picking third.
The QB only drafts are my favorite to do just because we are such not top-heavy QB type of analysts. So
There are 3.
It's fun to get to take them.
There are 3 great picks here, Mike.
Don't make the
Fair.
wrong one.
All right,
though.
I won't.
I get the first pick. My rankings up until this morning actually were the same at the top as Andy's, but there's no way I'm not taking Drew Brees in that game at home. He's throwing
Really?
80%.
I figured Drew Brees was the guy I would end up with.
Drew Brees actually shifted to my number 1 this morning based on all of the different adjustments going on. I will go with Patrick Mahomes.
You're not taking your start of the week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I am
wait, you're talking about Eli Manning?
No.
Jared
Goff.
People still didn't understand yesterday when I said, look, if I had Goff and Mahomes, I'd play Mahomes. But my projections say that they're razor thin and Goff has a couple more points. That's an average. If you're looking for who has the chance to throw 6 touchdowns, which is how I play fantasy football, it's still Mahomes.
All right.
Because of the Tyreek Hill effect. So
All
I'm
right.
taking
So I was on the turn, so I got Jared Goff, and I also took Mr. Booty Scootin' Cam Newton against Detroit.
And I am 1 pick away, and I will be very upset here in a second.
He's trying to you know who he's trying to take.
Well, I had my thoughts, but I ended up.
You gave it to him.
Yeah, I did. I took Matt Ryan.
Oh, I am so happy with that. I want Carson Wentz. I want both sides of that Drew Brees and Carson Wentz back and forth game. I will be very happy with that. And I'm going to take a guy who's just – look, it doesn't matter his matchup. He's been on fire.
It's true.
In Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's been everything we hoped he would be coming back off of that injury.
And credit to him for doing that. I'm going to take Dak Prescott solely for the purpose of softening the blow of Jason playing him against me in our League of Record. I know he's going to be good, so I want to know that I got something out of it when I'm beaten by him.
And on this turn, I went with the cheeseburger in a helmet, Mr. Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
It's
it's absolutely true, but when you say it out loud, it sounds
sounds mean?
Sounds very mean.
Sounds pretty mean.
I mean, you
But,
called him a
it's
cheeseburger in a helmet.
That is pretty true, though. I just mean,
look, he's real good at football. And Deshaun Watson.
All right.
Ooh, you're taking the risk.
I'm taking Ryan Fitzpatrick, looking for some Fitzmagic.
yeah, and
It's always the bench risk.
I'm going with Phillip Rivers. Out of order of my rankings, but I'm still going to take the guy that was ahead of him in Mitchell Trubisky. I am worried about that Bears-Minnesota Vikings game being low, but look, Mitch has been on fire, and like you said, Mike, he could very easily have 50 rushing yards, which in fantasy football, stupidly, is the equivalent of like 3,000 passing yards.
That's
perfect math.
Yeah. What's the word? I don't even remember your
let
stupid
the word go. Let it die.
Let it die. All right, what are our teams? I've got Drew Brees, Carson Wentz, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, and Mitchell Trubisky.
My final pick was Eli Manning, by the way, because come on,
Because he's playing Tampa Bay.
Mahomes, Ryan, Prescott, Fitzpatrick, and Eli. So I got Fitzpatrick and Eli in the same matchup. I'm going for matchup plays this week.
Goff, Newton, Roethlisberger, Watson, and I finished it up with Marcus Mariota against the Indianapolis Colts. The matchup is oh so delightful. Before we close out the show, I want to remind you about FanDuel. It's never been more fun or easy. It's the place to play. If you're not a fantasy expert, go check out the Gridiron Pick'em contest every week. Like I said, simple. Just pick a winner. Just pick a winner and split some cash. New users get that $5 bonus when they make their first deposit on FanDuel. Come play with us at FanDuel.com/fantasyfootballers. That's FanDuel.com/fantasyfootballers.
All right, you guys got your Christmas trees up already?
You're darn right I do.
Christmas tree check.
We do not have ours up because
Shame on you.
No, not shame on me. Because
You're getting a new tree.
we're getting a new tree.
Okay.
It is already being shipped. It gets
Wait,
here, I
you-
think, tomorrow. We had like a 9-foot tree, and I said,
12?
what is this garbage? I need a 12-foot tree. We're rearranging our house and moving our dining room table
Cutting a little notch in your roof.
so that we can be in the higher ceiling area and put a Christmas tree there. It's on.
That's what I like to hear.
I think I'm going to put the lights up this week.
Yeah.
I think this weekend, which means 50-50 shot I'm not here on Monday.
Oh, that would be
You're-
terrible.
my ladder skills have declined.
Equally to age increase.
Yeah, it's even exponential at this point. Like every year that goes by in life, my skills get 4 times worse on a ladder.
They really need to make that Christmas lights gun from the Jim Carrey
the
Grinch.
Oh,
yeah.
to shoot them up?
I would decorate my house like crazy.
It's just crazy because I was thinking yesterday. We've been this is just musing on life, but I saw that Free Solo movie in theaters, which is Alex Honnold climbs El Capitan in Yosemite, which
Without a rope.
without a rope, 3,000 feet, 3.5 hours. It's insane. The movie's great. I loved it. Not a sponsor. And but I've been watching these interviews with him, and he talks about being a kid and how he used to like climb up on the roof, and I used to do that all the time. Like heights were no object to me from the years of from when I was a newborn baby. I was climbing things until I was like 16 years old,
Yeah.
and from that point on, it's been a downhill. I got halfway up a ladder one time. I trying to hang him on a 2-story, and I had borrowed the ladder from the neighbor, right? So he brings it over, and he's watching me. And in front of my neighbor, I can't get halfway up this ladder. Something happened.
Yeah, you want to know what it is?
What? Tell me. Fatherhood?
As you age, your understanding of gravity grows.
Okay.
And you realize you're not supposed to go up there. Like there is a foundational force that says
Your parents, your kids want a father.
It should
just
be
stay on the ground.
It should become socially acceptable and a current business practice from the companies that rent this to allow cherry pickers to be what is used for putting up. Like I would do that. I would decorate the heck out of my house if I could stand in one of those boxes and just be lifted up.
I want my neighbor to look across the street and see me hammering in anchors like a mountain climber. And I've got rope and I've got anchors. I've got a chalk bag
on your hands.
a chalk bag on the back. And he's like, "What? You're going up 8 feet, sir?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and I am secure."
Sir, did you try using your tippy toes?
Yeah, would you mind?
Are you going to use a belay and
Yes,
a rope
I'm
on the ladder just in case you fall?
I'm going to ask a neighbor to come over and hold the rope for me.
Fantastic. Hey, if you want to
Because
hear,
I'm a man.
if you want to hear more
Greg Williams told me so.
musings that aren't fantasy football, we do have another podcast.
Yes.
The Spitballers podcast, where we do Would You Rather questions and do mock drafts. It's a fun time.
Very, very fun. And hey, Footclan, don't forget, footclanvote.com. We still need your support there. Good luck this weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.